Welcome back everyone to the Hello World Guy, and this is episode number not actually a number, it's a bonus episode of the platformer game. And in this video we are going to add some interesting little features to our game. Now first of all, the first thing that I think I would like to add is a system for locking the level. So the level should be able, the player, when we hit play right now, then uh, you can see that we can immediately go to level 2 even if we haven't played level 1 before, and that shouldn't happen. So yeah, how can we fix that? We need to figure a way to do that. Now for this you could go with a bunch of different ways, but the one we are going to do is rather simple, which is this, that we are going to basically add a lock image. So an image of a lock to these, and that would be enabled on specific objects only. And if it is enabled, then that means that well, that button is locked and you cannot click it, and we will just store the levels that the player has passed in the player preferences. Alright, so with that in mind, let's go ahead and do that. So first of all, we need to import a lock image. So how can we do that? Well, I'm just going to go under my art folder, right click, just go ahead and hit import new asset. So after you have imported your asset, just name it something you will like lock, and then what you can do is go under the second level, and you can do this for all of the levels you want to, except one, because that's always going to be unlocked. So I'm going to go here and go under UI and add in an image here. This is going to be called lock. Then make sure that for the sprite you have got this lock sprite. This should preferably be have a 1:1 ratio, and make sure that it is stretched as well, and that looks really nice. I have also changed the colors a bit to match with this sprite. You can do it according to your own preference. And what we want is we either want this button to be clickable, and if I actually click this, you can see that I can turn off this interactable on this button and make sure that it's actually its disabled color is still white, and not like that, because else it will cause a bit of problem. So yeah, that's nice, and we can change it to be like this. We can maybe make it a little bit darker to give the impression that it's not clickable, or you can even change the color completely like that. It's kind of hard to actually do it, so I think not doing that and just making it a little darker should do the trick for us. Anyways, we can turn it on or off, whether it is interactable or not. Now for this, what we need to do actually is just go through all of the levels and go through our player preferences. We will use the player preferences to store our level data, and we'll see if a particular level is unlocked or not. And if it is unlocked, then we will go ahead and turn off the we will not apply the lock and make the button interactable as we want. So to get started, just so I'm going to open up my UI event sphere, because that is one going to do all of that stuff. So just open it up by double clicking in here. Alright, after going here, I'm going to add in a CLI field here in this class here first of all, and this is going to be a private bool called is going to be called the menu. This will represent if, or just call it if menu, I guess, and this will represent whether we are in the menu or not. And I'm going to add in start here, our start method here. And it is what we are going to do here is first of all go ahead and say scene scene manager dot now if I go scene manager dot level scene count in build settings, that gives us the number of scenes in the build settings. And remember that the first one is our menu and the last one is the end screen. So if I subtract 2 from this should give us the total number of levels. And what I can do in here is I can actually let me do this. So wait for a little while, and in here we are going to basically have a for loop saying if level is equal to 2, starting at 2, because we actually starting at 1, because this is at 0. And the reason we are doing this is that it's really simple actually. The reason is that our level should start at 1, because we do not want the first level to be locked anytime, which has index 0. So in here what we will do is we will just say we will try to actually the thing that we will try to do is find the button corresponding to this level. For this we can go find game object dot find, and if I just use find, then you can give it a name, and for the name I can say level plus 1, and yeah, that should work. It should automatically convert this to a screen. So okay, it's not. So dot to string, and just use this. Okay, and that should work. And yeah, that and then we are going to get a reference here. So I'm going to just say game, or I'm going to say actually say button called button is equal to game object dot find this as button. Okay, hopefully this is going to work. Do you we are reference conversion box? Okay, okay. Oh, what we can do is we can go dot we can just say dot get component button. Okay, that's nice. Alright, now we have got a button here, and what we are going to do is that we are going to say we are just going to say that button dot interactable is equal to false. We are only going to do that for now. Make the button interactable, make any level except the first level uninteractable, and let's just see if this works, and then we can move on to actually storing which levels we want to store and not. So yeah, let it compile, and it's taking a bit of time, and after it has compiled, you can see it's reloading the script into. So after it has compiled, if I just hit play, what you should see is that this this button becomes uninteractable, and we cannot click it, and I can click the first button, and that gets me to the level level 1 uims.start. Okay, the reason that this did not work is that first, of course, we need to say if button is not equal to null, then we are going to do this. And also if if this if menu we should check. So we are going to check if is not if menu, we are going to return from this method. And now in the menu function, what we will do is like after we have compiled, just let it compile, and real quickly that has happened. So just select the UI events and make sure that if menu is turned on here and not in the actual game, so any of the levels. So if I hit play now, you can see I cannot hit the second level, but I can open up the first level and it works perfectly, and I can move around and shoot and all of that. So yeah, this is pretty nice. So now what we are going to do here is actually get the amount of levels that we have passed. Now for storing the levels that we have completed, we will basically use a number to represent the last level that is supposed to be unlocked, and the only reason we are doing that is this, that we really we will be doing levels in order, so we don't need to worry about that. We can just say completed level. So how many levels have we or you can just say unlocked levels. So this will be always equal to at least 1, but we are going to set it equal to we can say player prefs. Remember, this class is used to store preferences, and we can use dot get int, and for the key name we can say unlocked levels, like that. And what we can do is actually copy this, and then we can first check this. Okay, so let me just set this to 1 by default, and we can say if if a player prefs dot hash key of this unlocked levels, then what we are going to do is we are going to get the integer, and we are going to set our unlocked levels is equal to that. It's as simple as this. And once we have done that, we are going to just set this level to be as the start of our unlocked levels. Alright, so this should work. And if it's not present, then we will just say player pref dot set int, and for the key name we will just use this, and for the value we will say unlock levels, which is going to be by default 1. So yeah, this should pretty much work. And what we are going to do in the player script is that in here, when we load the next build index scene, okay, when we are loading the next build index scene, all we do here is that we say player prefs dot set int, and for the name, of course, give it this, and for the value, we're just going to give it our next build index, which is this is actually going to work because the level is equal to the next build index always, and we are only going to do this if this exists, so this should work. So if I test this by, and now currently, of course, remember that the lock graphic does not come into the play, but we'll get to that in a second. And you can see that it's currently grayed out, and if I hit 1 and then I just quickly play the level, so if I collect this last coin, you can see I can go in the portal, and now the level should be unlocked. So if I were to hit play again this time, you could see that the 2 does not get grayed out, and as you can see, it does not, and I can go to the second level now, and that is pretty awesome. So yeah, that is all nice. Alright, so now we are going to edit so that we also get to see the lock, lock image. And what I can do is you might want to turn it off by default. And what we can do in here is that we can create, if I go here and say a button, and if I go dot get, oh, button dot transform dot get child, then you can see we have got an option for getting a child count, and we are for getting a particular child at an index. Now what we can do here, we could rely on the index because we know that this is going to be 1 always, and in fact we're actually going to do that, but there are better ways to do this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, but I'm going to create I'm going to just say button dot get transform dot get child, and remember that the index is 1. And as you can see, this is 0 and this is 1. This is a bit error prone, but we are going to do it because we are sure that we won't get it wrong. And dot enables dot active, okay, this is a game object, right? No, it's a transform. Dot game object dot set active, and we are going to set it active to be true, and that's all. So I'm just going to wait for it to compile now, and once it has compiled, I'm going to, okay, it's still compiling, just a bit annoying, you know, sometimes. Alright, so now I'm going to hit play once it has compiled, and what you should see is that it actually doesn't appear because we have played that level, so we need to now delete our player preferences. So yeah, how do we do that? Now clearing the preferences is really simple through code. However, there isn't any way to do it in the actual UI, so we need to create our own system for doing that, and it's actually really simple. We are actually going to create an editor script right now which will run inside the Unity editor, not the actual game. So if I create a new folder here and call it editor, and make sure that you have a folder with the exact same name, because scripts inside these are executed as a part of the editor. Anyway, go ahead and create a new C# script in here, and I'm going to call it clear preferences just call it clear pref, and then I'm going to double click to open it up. In here, just reload, I guess. Okay, what you need to do is well, wait for a little while. Okay, and make sure that it inherits from editor instead of inheriting from that, and we do not need these, and using Unity editor as well, Unity editor, like that. And now we do not need these methods in here. So in here, what we can do is we can add in a public static void and call it just clear pref. Actually, I think it's better if you rename this to editor. We just name it to utils. Okay, and if I go in here and I let it compile, and if I rename this to be utils as well, then that should work. So anyways, I'm going to get back to Visual Studio here, and it's not visible. Of course, go to Solution Explorer and open up utils. If I can actually find that, it's in the editor folder, but Okay. Oh yeah, in here, in that there's a separate assembly for the editor. Anyways, open up utils dot here this and add in a clear pref void here, and what this does is that it says player pref. So let's go player pref dot delete all, and that's as simple as that. Now, of course, if I just let it compile, then it won't actually show up. So in order to make it show up, we need to add in a menu item attribute to this, and for the name, we need to give it the we can just go tool slash util slash player uh, preferences, and we can add more stuff, but I'm not going to do that. Just give let it be like that. And after waiting for a little while for it to compile, what I'm going to do is go here, then go to util and hit clear preferences, and it's as simple as that. You can see that we just created our own new menu here. Now if I hit play at this point, what you should see is that a lock and an icon appears over this, and I cannot click it anymore. However, if I go under one and I just quickly go through the level, right, if I just select this last point and go in, and then if I just play again, then you should see that we have got 1 and 2 both unlocked, and I can go under the second level now. But if I go under tools util and hit clear preferences, then you can see that I get that back again. Now this is an editor thing. The script won't run in the game. This is only for making life easy for us to allow us to do something that the Unity editor doesn't allow us to do. So this is all really nice, and I think that's pretty much it for our level locking system. And now I would like to address a small but still annoying bug. And if I actually go under my scene and just open up level 1 or level 2, but I'm going to open up level 1, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a slight bug. And if you remember, we use a circle to determine when we are grounded and not, and that's all nice, and that circle is a point located somewhere. So if I turn, you can also turn on the gizmos, by the way, in the game view, but that doesn't seem to work for some reason. But anyway, if I go under the scene view and I hit F, and you can see this is my player and this is his feet. So this point here, it's not exactly in the center right now actually, but this point here is the point that the player's feet are at, and it is the point that that we check whether our player is grounded or not. Now that's all nice, but if I move to this point, I can actually move beyond when I was supposed to. But if I move to this point and I try to jump, I cannot jump. Why? Why can't I jump? Well, because we are not grounded, because our ground point is only a single point in the middle of the player, and now it's not being able to detect. Sometimes this causes really weird problems. For example, you can see that if I jump, and sometimes the player is still stuck in this pose even though he's not supposed to be, and the reason for that is that error in ground checking. So, how can we fix this, and what can we do to have a better ground checking system? Well, what we are actually going to do is something really simple. We are not going to, do this way where we have a small circle, but instead we are going to use a box. So, in order to do that, let me first open up the player script by selecting the player, going under here, and just double clicking this. Alright, so in here, what I'm going to do is, if I go under my here, you can see that we go physics.overlap circle all blah blah blah. But for the actual colliders, we do not need to use this method, but instead let's go physics2d dot overlap. Now if I overlap box all, we have got this one. Okay, so if you remember, for overlap circle all, we use feet dot position and then 0.2 for the actual radius. In here, what we are going to do, we are going to go overlap box all, and we are going to go feet dot position for the point, and for the size, let's just create a variable called feet size right now, arbitrary, not created yet. And for the angles, that's going to be 0.0 f, and that's it. Now before we do any of this, so we need to create a vector 3 called feet size, and that we can set to collider. Okay, so for this we need to set it to our collider's bound. So how can we do that? So for this, what we can do is we can say get component collider2d dot bounds Okay, this is going to be the bounds of the collider, and what we can see is that we can say okay, that returns a bounce. So if I go bounce dot extends, then that is the actual size of the bounce. So here what we are going to do is we are going to say feet size, by the way, not sized, feet size is equal to, oh by the way, this is feet dot position. I don't know what caused that. I didn't really know. Anyway, feet size dot y, we are going to decrease that. We are going to set it to something like 0.1 f, 2f maybe, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Now should this work? Well, it actually should. So if I just wait for it to compile, currently it's compiling, and once it has compiled, what you should see is that it works. Alright, so if I hit play now, then what you should see is that it's working, and if I, that's nice, and I can jump up and it works. And even if I am at the exact edge of this, okay, it works. And if I am a little more, that still works. And this doesn't work, but yeah, that's kind of a problem. And the reason is kind of obvious, that this is not detecting it because of it's a kind of exactly as the collider. So if I just select this is what it's doing, and it should actually work. Why is it not being able to do that? Well, if I go here and I hit this, that actually works. And if I move to here, okay, so you can see that even if I touch this, then it doesn't work. But if I move just a little, I mean, it's better than before, but it's not working perfectly. And for that, I think it should be enough if we just go ahead and say feet size dot x, and just we multiply it by 1.2. Maybe that's a bit large, but I'm going to do it. Let's just see how it works. And that's also going to help us do tackle another problem. So if I go here now, okay, that works, and that still works, and yeah, that's nice. So what I'm going to do is actually just go to my player, and then select the turn on collider editing, go under scene view, go to my player, and make sure that the colliders are actually aligned with the feet. I think that's what should happen. They should be aligned with the feet necessarily, not the other body. Just what I think. Okay, and but the problem is that now we can go inside of this kind of. But anyways, now if I were to go this, and you can see that that works, and I can still jump even at the corners. And also one more problem is that when I do this, I can actually, you can see that if I am running and I try to jump, sometimes I do not manage it, just because of some, it's because that the player just basically misses the actual edge and kind of goes beyond it, which causes it not to work. And that we know that it happens that way, but the player will feel extremely annoyed at this, and this is definitely not something that we want in the final game. So to fix this, most people would go ahead and add something called a chaotic time, but I'm actually not going to do that. No, not at all. And the reason is that we are going to implement it in a different way. You can implement that, but we are not going to do that for now. I'm just going to select my player, just to show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to just set its jump force to something like 5. Alright, just reduce the jump force, and then I'm going to go under here, and instead we are basically going to implement double jumping. So instead of having it grounded here and set that to false or something, what we are going to do after setting the if grounded is that we are going to check if okay, when we are setting if jumping to be false, that means that we have landed, and that's nice. So what we need to do here is that we need to say we need to we of course first we need to create an actual variable here. I'm going to add in a private okay, after these both I'm going to add in a private int here called jump count. Okay, and I'm also going to go up here and add in another serialized field, a private int max jump count, and I'm just going to set it to 1. And now we are basically going to implement double jumping like we did in the FPS series. For this, we are going to by default, of course, have our jump count as 0. And what we do here is that we check if instead of doing this, we check if our jump count is less than the max jump count. And in here what we do is set our jump, when we land we set our jump count to 0, and whenever we jump we increase our jump count. It's as simple as that, and this should actually work. And this should also allow us fix that bug when the player kind of goes along. Even though it's not the perfect solution, it will cause the player to go along, the player can just wander off and jump in mid-air. So if I just show you what I mean. Okay, this is a bit too small. 8, it is also too small. With 2 jumps, even with 2 jumps, it is not enough to reach that place at the top. So I think 12 is enough. So now if you can see that even if I walk off, I can still jump, and I can jump twice. So yeah, that's really nice, and I think this is all going really good. So anyways, this is pretty much it for this video, and and this series as a whole, and we have completed the bonus video as well. Now you might be thinking that I wanted to add audio in this video, but I actually couldn't do that because audio is kind of a big topic, and I think I will make a separate tutorial just about audio. And we are going to start our new game tomorrow, and I think that this is it for the series. So I will see you in the next video. Make sure to like and subscribe. Also check out my other devlog channel, and bye.